Did you know? The very first piece of music you hear in the original Legend of Zelda was created in just one day. Originally, the team elected to use Bolero, a classical piece composed for a Russian ballet. But that piece of music's copyright hadn't expired yet. Zelda's development was entering its final stage and the game was being prepared for mass production. Because of this, the game's composer, Koji Kondo, had to make a new piece of music in just one night. The Bolero piece was selected because the tempo matched the speed of Zelda's opening sequence, and this tempo was used in the new arrangement as well. The Legend of Zelda was noteworthy at the time for switching its music on the fly depending on whether you were in a fight or not. This implementation became a staple of the franchise, and it was a challenge for Kondo to improve upon it in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Since the map was built around Hyrule Field, it was key that players didn't get bored of hearing the same music every time they had to revisit the area. To combat this, Kondo created 28 measure pieces, some of which are specific to battles, that could fit together in different ways randomly. During development of Ocarina of Time, Zelda's creator Shigeru Miyamoto had to push to get a manually controlled ocarina in the game. I like international music such as Inca or Latin. I really wanted to put in an ocarina. It seemed really Zelda-esque. Playing an instrument is a much more enjoyable way to accomplish things than just casting a spell. There were people suggesting playing the ocarina is too tiresome, let's make it automatic. I was undecided as well, but when I went to examine the situation, I found the complainers were happily playing the ocarina too. Originally, a reed pipe was going to be used to summon Epona, Link's horse, but it didn't make sense to have two separate musical instruments once the ocarina was implemented, so it was switched out. The character Malon was created thanks to Shigeru Miyamoto. Miyamoto was a fan of country musicians such as Emmylou Harris, and he insisted on having a songstress in the game. Malon was originally going to stay in the ranch singing by herself and to the horses. Her story was changed halfway through so that once she was in the castle, she'd no longer sing. Koji Kondo recalls making the ocarina songs for Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask as some of his most challenging work. Miyamoto's implementation idea for the ocarina was that each button would always be the same tone. This meant that Kondo only had 5 tones to work with for over 20 tunes across Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, each with their own unique theme. The Gorons in Majora's Mask play the bongos because they are the favorite instruments of Eiji Aonuma, currently the lead producer for the Legend of Zelda franchise. He considers playing music to be his hobby outside of video games and even started a band with some co-workers from Nintendo. Aonuma plays percussion instruments, specifically drums, mostly for fun. He finds creating a rhythm to be enjoyable despite not being a musician at heart, as he cannot read music. Majora's Mask, Pamela is named after lyrics from a bossa nova style song, which is probably why she and her father live in a music box house. Because of the Brazilian roots of the bossa nova music, Pamela was originally foreign, but her ethnicity was ultimately changed to Japanese. Aonuma got the sense that Pamela was brave, so he gave her the troubling situation of having a mummified father. Before Aonuma saw her moving around in-game, Pamela was actually planned to have no father. Kondo decided very early on that the music for Majora's Mask would be informed by the style of Chinese opera, as he was inspired by the Mask of Majora itself. I saw that, and it really brought to mind for me, for whatever reason, a type of Chinese opera. The kind where the performers wear masks and the music is all percussive, and there's a lot of cymbals and bells and whatnot. Those two linked up when I first saw Majora's artwork, and I thought a Chinese-influenced theme would be the way to go. The masks he's referring to are called the Damian, among other names, and were originally implemented in Chinese musical performances in honor of Tang Dynasty warriors going to battle. As the composer, Kondo was involved in more smaller details of Majora's Mask than might be traditionally expected. In one particular scene where the mayor is sat between two people arguing, Kondo designed the music to match the feel of the argument. Since one character was on the left of the mayor and one on the right, different parts of the music would play from either the left or right speaker along with the argument. In another scene where Kitsune is dancing, Kondo was approached by a director, most likely Aonuma, who told him he'd like the music to sound more Japanese. The feeling that the director was getting from what he was seeing on the screen was just different from the impression that I got. But I did go back and look at the scene and I understood more of what he wanted after that, so I redid the music. The E3 trailer for The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess in 2005 featured a fully orchestrated musical accompaniment, something which led many fans to believe that the game would be orchestrated as well. In September of 2005, whether or not the game would be orchestrated hadn't been decided yet. According to Kondo, honestly it hasn't been determined yet, but I would really like to push for it. In the process of recording the trailer music, I've gotten back in touch with how music from live instruments can be extremely powerful. Even when I've spent countless hours creating digital music with complex layers for Nintendo's games, artificial sounds just can't beat the real depth and expression of live instruments. Twilight Princess eventually released without an orchestrated soundtrack. According to Aonuma in a 2007 interview with IGN, Kondo was deeply let down by this. While he was indeed disappointed, the team as a whole came to the conclusion that the game simply didn't need it. When asked whether or not it was a Nintendo decision, Kondo said, "We never got the feeling that, oh, this would be a place that could make more of an impact with a full orchestra. We just didn't see the need for it this time. If you power up the game and let it sit there, there's a fully orchestrated piece there, so we weren't against doing it, no." Nintendo staff wanted to include orchestral music in Skyward Sword, but Miyamoto initially shot them down, insisting it wasn't necessary. Later, the decision was made to give Skyward Sword an orchestrated soundtrack, finally fulfilling the wishes of Koji Kondo. Don't forget to subscribe for more facts and trivia. Before you go, we'd like you to vote on what you'd like to see covered in the future, a video on Mario music or a video on Pokemon music. You can also vote by leaving a comment down below. And hey, if you like Zelda and you like my voice, why don't you go ahead and check out my video on the top 10 most annoying enemies in video games. I hear Zelda makes an appearance on that list, from an inside source. Don't read into it.